You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this live edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme is brought to you by Evolve Green, TOVI Hockey, Case Financial Group, AETI, and our good friends over at Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy. We got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We got 3 guests joining tonight's episode. We're going to start off by being joined by a former TV host on the network here, JD Haughton, former host of the Sask Sports Show here on ASTV Productions, will be joining the show after the intro to talk about the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. He's covering the Kenora Thistles in that league this season, going to talk some Thistles hockey as well as about some of the other teams in the league and some of the top players as well. We're also going to get JD's thoughts on some teams that may be struggling a bit so far this season that could pick it up as well. And yeah, going to be a lot of fun here on this first interview on this edition of Coffee with Graeme with JD Haughton here on ASTV Productions. And there he is, JD Haughton, joining Coffee with Graeme here on this Thursday night. JD, I got to ask you the question, how's life been in Kenora since you've last moved there, pursuing this new job opportunity you got in Kenora?
It's going really good, actually. This is the furthest east I've ever been before, so it's definitely a change from Saskatchewan, but no, I quite enjoy Kenora. It's a great place. It's lake country, so you got lakes and rivers, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, and Kenora, like I have a lake out at Falcon Lake, and we've made the trip out there many times growing up. In my childhood, it's a pretty nice town. Like you said, a lot of lakes nearby, so definitely going to be nice for you in the summertime to enjoy, the nice landscape, the great things that Kenora offers. But talking about the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League here. Starting off with the team that you're covering, the Kenora Thistles. This team so far this year, not off to a great start. 1-11, 32 goals for, 85 goals against so far. From what you've seen from this team so far, how would you describe the way this Kenora Thistles team plays? How this team has looked so far this year since you've covered them?
You know what? Like you said, I feel like their record doesn't fully, I guess, recognize the team that they have. Obviously, it was a slow start. They went up against Brandon in their first 2 games, which you can see Brandon is undefeated in regulation. I think their only loss was in a shootout, and that was a tough weekend. But like a lot of these teams in this league, Kenora is a regional team. They're built from players in and around Kenora. If I remember correctly, I think there's only 4 players on this team from Kenora. So they have to get players from Thunder Bay, Red Lake, Fort Francis, and all the neighboring communities, within a certain distance that they are allowed. And so this, it takes a while for a team to, I would say, kind of find, build some chemistry, because none of these players have really played with each other. Some of them might have played against each other, but now they're coming together to, to make a regional team. And I feel that in the last, I'm going to say 2 weeks, or even before that, they've definitely, grown leaps and bounds from their first weekend against Brandon. And like covering them, I've been at, all their home games, and I've really seen some progression. And, for one, their I guess their net front presence, their offensive skill, their and things like that. And they got early on in the season, they were struck with a lot of injuries and things like that. But they're finally starting to play together as a team, which is great to see. And they got their first win last weekend against Southwest, which was I think at that point when they came in, they were third or fourth in the league. A pretty substantial winning record. And they were able to pull off a 5-4 win, and then they unfortunately lost the next day, holding. I think they lost 6-5, even though they had the lead in the third period, which was tough. But they, like I said, they showed leaps and bounds from previous games they played, and then the weekend after they lost to Brandon, those two games, they only lost 2-1 to Yellowhead, if I remember correctly, and then the next game was a little bit more, Yellowhead's favor. I think it was 7-3 to score. But it was, they're still learning each other, figuring each other out. But, I talk with head coach Scott Parsons all the time, at least once or twice a week. And, he's really loving the progression that his team's made, in the past, few weeks. And, it was a big win for him because on Saturday, that win against Southwest was his first win as a U18 coach. So it was pretty special for him, but it was also special for the team because the team has a puck pyramid, which, after each win they put it, they're going to build, when they get more and more wins, they're going to build that into a pyramid. So it was a special night for the boys, especially after how they started, I think 0-9 going into last weekend. So I feel that, like I said before, their record doesn't resemble, the way that this team has played. They're hardworking. Obviously you're going to have mental mistakes, and that's the joy of U18 hockey, and that's what you're going to see everywhere. There's going to be mental mistakes. There's going to be kids that first year playing in this league that are going to make those mistakes. But the good thing is that you learn from them. You come back on the next shift and you learn. And this is what this league is for. It's a developmental league to go to the next level. If it's junior A, if it's WHL, if it's this, that, or the other. But I'm really looking forward to because they're coming in this weekend. They're playing Pembina Valley, which is they're showing a losing record. They've only won 4 games this season, and I feel that the Thistles could walk out of this weekend with 4 points. So I'm looking forward to keeping my eye on the score this weekend, and hopefully they can come out there with a win.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into that game against Pembina Valley in just a bit here. But talking about that, a coach that just got his first win in the U18 league, a team that, like you said, lacks, having regional players. They need to pull from other areas. Just looking at it, just talking about how this head coach has handled just, all the challenges, all the twists and turns that have come his way so far this season into trying to get this team at a level where they can compete against teams in this league.
I throughout the season, obviously, he's not happy with the record, but he has the utmost faith in his team. Like he's told me, he's happy with their progression every single game that they play. And, he's proud to be their coach. And him and his coaching staff are 110% behind this team. They know the challenges that they face being a regional team, and they roll with it. And from when I talked to him this afternoon, he was telling me that the morale, of the kids, because they lost last night 11-3 over the Winnipeg Wild, but he said his team is the morale's still great. They're really excited going into Pembina Valley this weekend, and you know what? It's the the learning curve that he's going through this year. But I know that, and I know he knows that it can only go up. So
Yeah.
he's really excited for the rest of the season, to pull off some wins against teams that they are competitive with, as they showed against Southwest. They are a competitive team. They can play with the teams that are in the, the top of the league. And, like I said, he's really excited, looking forward to the season.
Talking about a player that's been a huge bright spot for this team so far this year, Jeff Mintanko, 19 points in 12 games so far. From what you've seen, from what you've heard, from what the head coach, the coaching staff has talked about this kid, just speak about how impressed you've been with Jeff's game so far this year.
He's been really good. He has an eye for the puck. And he's not just all about offense either. He's a really good defensive player as well. He'll come back on the back check. He'll lift sticks. He'll take pucks away from players. But when he gets that puck, it's hard for players to get that puck away from him. And just seeing the skill, like for instance, last night he got a goal, and he went around a defender and put it in a spot that, just right underneath the crossbar, over the glove, like not a whole lot of room for error. And he was able to find that. And he was, and like I mentioned, he's a defensive player. So he plays on the PK too. And he's, like I said, he has an eye for the puck. And when he gets it, it's hard to get that puck away from him. But I want to mention too, he's had a very successful season. I think he's a very highly skilled player, but his line mate, Nicholas Fagnili, he is, like Scott was telling me, he has an eye for the puck too. When he gets the puck, he's also very quick and fast as well, but he has a wicked snapshot. And, he'll go to those dirty places in front of the net as well. And he'll get those goals. But I think that Jet and Nick really are, finding a great deal of chemistry together. And you can tell by their point production, in the last 5 games or so, they've picked up at least a point, I think in 4 of the last 5 games, if could be wrong, but I honestly think that, both of those guys, and Jet, he's having a great season. He's a very highly skilled player. And I would debate that Nick and Jet are, some of the most skilled players in the league. And I'm very fortunate that they're on our team.
Yeah, for sure. And my apologies. I called him Jeff. It's Jet, right? My apologies for that. My Word document, my Word app that I use is not working. I've been using the Apple Notes here, and I can't zoom into the names. So maybe it's time for me to get glasses, Jay. I might have to recommend me some places where to get them, what's good, because obviously with you wearing glasses, you definitely know what to get. But talking about this upcoming matchups against Pembina Valley, of course, like you said, a team with a losing record so far this year. Coming in, Kenora with a lot of good morale coming into the game. They're confident that they can come out and potentially get wins this upcoming weekend. From what you've seen so far, from what Pembina Valley has shown out there, I'm not sure if you've seen them play so far this year. What do you think that Kenora is going to have to do from what they've been doing good this season to continue to build and go in there and get 2 wins in Morden this weekend?
Well, Graeme, I haven't been able to really watch any of their games this season. But I know what Kenora has, from talking to Scott, and they want to come out hard in that first period, and they want to, try to take, control the tempo of the game and get, an early lead or so, to, try to get themselves out front. And I think that's what the team wants to do against Pembina Valley, is just try to, control the game, play their game. And they don't want to, basically, what am I looking for? They don't want to let Pembina Valley control the game. They want to control the pace of the game. And they're, like I said, they're excited going in this weekend. It's only their second, I would say, overnight weekend series that they've played. They've gone to Winnipeg once. They've gone to Brandon. So this would be their second full weekend series. And I know that they're excited for a road trip. It's just another way for these boys to get, connect, build some chemistry, really get to know each other a lot more. Another exciting thing as well is they'll be getting their goalie back, their starting goalie, Caden King. He was coming off a 4-game suspension that he got in Brandon. So I imagine that that's going to help out. And the backup, James Sinclair, actually the AP that got their first win and his first win as a U18 goalie as well. He played stellar in net for the Thistles, and he kept him in some games, and he was really good against Southwest last weekend. So I think it's exciting for Caden King to come back, but I know that the Thistles are going to want to come out fast and hard in that first period and take control of the game, as well as, their power play's really been picking up. So when they do get that man advantage, I imagine that they really want to capitalize on as many chances as they can.
Yeah, and you've already mentioned Brandon, you've already mentioned Winnipeg, the Wild. Both teams are number 1 and 2 in the league so far this season. Teams that put up a lot of goals. Just looking at the makeup of these two teams, what makes these two teams, both Brandon and the Winnipeg Wild, so special?
I think Brandon, we'll talk about them first. Obviously, they're first in the league, but I feel like them, they're a team that I would imagine that a lot of these players have played together for a long time. So they already have chemistry, and it's like, any other team that's played together for a long time. These guys really know what their teammates' strengths and things are, and they know where each other are on the ice, and there's just good team chemistry. And that's the benefit that you get from, basically, I imagine all these players probably grew up playing hockey together, probably come up throughout, Pee Wee, Bantam, and now into U18 to play. But they got, I think, 4 of their players are in the top 4 in league scoring right now, and they're just a highly skilled team. It's been a while since I've seen them, and it was their first 2 games of the season against the Thistles. But I just feel that they're very highly skilled, and that's what I have to say about them. And the Wild, seeing them last night, they were, they seemed like they were a calmer team, to tell you the truth. Like, they weren't a fast paced, hitting you all the time kind of team. They did take the game to the Thistles. The Thistles actually came out and controlled that for the first, 3 to 4 minutes of the game. But the Wild, they got 2 quick goals back to back, and they went into the period up 2-0. And there weren't a lot of penalties. It seemed like they didn't take a lot of penalties or anything. I think they only took about 2 or 3 penalties, but it was, they were also a very highly skilled team. But I think those players came up the ranks as well together. A lot of those guys probably played together. But they had a really good breakout as well. They could get the puck up the ice, in a blink of an eye, and Thistles would get the puck out and they would come right back in. So they put a lot of pressure, and then that pressure paid off with, obviously 11 goals. So I did like, that aspect of their game. I think Brandon and Winnipeg both play 2 different games, but both of them are highly skilled, and they all those players have probably played together for a while. So a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, and you mentioned Brandon's, like they got 4 of the top point getters in the league right now, and one player that has really been impressive, especially with his age being in 06, is Clark Caswell. 25 points in 9 games played. For an 06 player, a first-year player in this league, to put up the amount of points that Clark is putting up, of course, he's supposed to get selected. Well, he's eligible to get selected in the WHL draft coming up this year in December next month, just from if you've had an opportunity to see him. But just looking at his points so far this year, to be able to do that as an 06, how impressive is that performance so far this season that Clark has put up out there?
Yeah, from his point production, especially in, I want to say 12 or 13 games, I'm going to say.
That's nine games.
9 games for him. So he's
25 points. Yeah.
He's over. Yeah, that's really impressive. And I think any team, any WHL team or junior A team would be lucky to have him. And like you said, being an 06 player, he's definitely shown that he can play at this level and play against teams that play against players and be on that top line and be on that first power play unit. And he can put the puck in the net. And it's not all about one player. I know that, they work well as a team. and then he gets rewarded along with his other teammates, which I think are up there in the point standings as well. So from what I've seen him, highly skilled player. He's fast, he's quick, he has a good shot, and it's exciting to see where his next step will be. And it wouldn't surprise me if he went to the Brandon Wheat Kings.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Of course, I believe that his hometown is Brandon, Manitoba, so that would be a pretty cool experience for Clark to be able to get drafted there if that does come to fruition. But gonna leave you off with this, JD. I know that you've covered Kenora all their games this season. Not sure how many other teams in the league you've had a chance to watch. Of course, you said you've watched Brandon play, you've watched Winnipeg play, Southwest, but a team right now in the standings that maybe not off to the start they want to get off to, that you could see just based off of the talent that the roster has, just the players on a team's roster that could move up the ranks as the season starts rolling along here in the Manitoba League.
From the teams that I've seen, obviously I want Kenora to be that team. I honestly think that through it, talking about Kenora, that as the season goes on, I think that they're going to keep getting better, and they're going to keep getting to those wins, and and they want to, like Scott has said before, they have their eyes set on the playoffs, and they want to go there, and they want to do some damage. So I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited for the journey that they have in store. But I did, watching Southwest the other weekend, I felt that they it seems like they have a well put together team. They're very, it seems, they have chemistry as well, and they're another regional team. I think their home rink is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Souris or Souris, Manitoba, which is just southwest of Brandon.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that they're a regional team as well. They're pulling players from all around that area. But there was a few players on that team that I quite enjoyed watching. And I think that they do have a winning record, and I feel that they can compete with those top teams. Obviously, like the Winnipeg Wild and Brandon, they're going to be really tough because, as you can see, they've put up a lot of high scoring games against the other teams. So they're going to be in tough. But I think that they're going to keep plugging away and move up the ranks. But I obviously, living in Kenora, covering the Thistles, I really hope that they I'm excited for what they have in store, and for them to pull off some more wins and hopefully get 2 wins this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Just it's going to be exciting to see what Kenora is going to be able to do. See if they can go and get a win or two against the Pembina Valley Hawks coming up this weekend in Morden. JD Haughton, former host here of the Sask Sports Show on ASTV Productions, now covering the Kenora Thistles in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League, joining me first here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. JD, thanks for taking the time. You take care, and have fun watching the team upcoming this week in the Kenora Thistles.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Graeme. Have a good night.
You too, JD. Take care.
Bye.
And JD Haughton, of course, former host of the Sask Sports Show here on ASTV Productions, joining me to talk about the team that he's covering now, the Kenora Thistles in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League, as well as talking about some of the other teams in the league, the top teams like the Brandon Wheat Kings and the Winnipeg Wild, some of the top players, most notably, one of the top players in Clark Caswell, who has 25 points in 9 games played. Absolutely ridiculous, especially considering his age, being an 06. Gonna be a pretty good find for a WHL team if they're able to snag him in the draft, building off of the strong season he had last year as well. I believe he played for the Rink Hockey-Academy. I could be wrong, but forgot to mention this in the intro. I did finally get my hair cut. It was about time. The hair was getting too long, and I was sick of styling it, so I had to pull the trigger, get the haircut today. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy the new hairstyle. I enjoy it. I think it's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. But we're going to take a commercial break here. We're going to take maybe one or two, maybe two. We'll see. But you're going to hear from Evolve Green and maybe one of our other sponsors here sponsoring tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Coming up after this commercial break, I'm going to be joined by one of my good friends here, a good friend of Coffee with Graeme, Tony Bertone, head coach of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars, a women's hockey team, to talk about, what the team's been looking like, how the team's been looking since the last time that we've talked, and the upcoming schedule that this team is going to have into this weekend and the latter half of the season. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. For everyone tuning in on this Thursday evening, want to thank you guys for supporting the show and us here at ASTV Productions, of course. Just heard from our sponsor, one of our official sponsors here of the show, Evolve Green. Check them out if you want to go to solar in terms of your power source. I know they got some other great things too, battery backup and many other great things. Welcome back to the show. Just joined by JD Haughton, former TV host here on ASTV Productions of the Sask Sports Show, and now covering the Kenora Thistles in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. We got another great guest coming up. Going to join the show in just a moment, but I do want to tell you guys we got a long edition of Seth's Inside Scoop with Seth Rach coming up at the end of this episode, as he is going to be the final guest, of course, the weekly segment. Got a lot to talk about with Seth in that one, so stay tuned for that. Pre-recorded it earlier tonight, so excited for you guys to watch that. Had a really good conversation with Seth about breaking down and previewing the upcoming weekend for these teams, and that we're going to be covering here on the network. But let's get to this next guest. Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey head coach Tony Bertone, great friend, great guest of the show, joining us here. Tony, I like the poppy. I'm wearing one as well. Great to see you wearing it, supporting the troops. Remembrance Day is upon us, coming up soon. I believe next Thursday. But besides that, how are you doing on this Thursday night? Thanks for taking the time and joining the show.
Real good, Graeme. Nice to see you again, and I'm got a new haircut myself, so
yeah. For me, I felt
we're all cleaned up.
Yeah, I felt it was time for myself because my hair, if it kept growing, it would have been as long as my girlfriend's, and honestly, wouldn't have liked that.
No.
So I wouldn't have liked that. My family wouldn't have. My girlfriend wouldn't have been a fan of that.
Yeah. Well, mine's graying and thinning out, but yours is still thick, so you're all right.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna cherish my hair as long as I can because could lose the hair down the line, could go bald.
For sure.
So we're gonna continue to milk this cow as long as we can here. But let's get into it. Since the last time that we've talked, how's the team been looking? Preparing for a weekend coming up of games. The forwards, the defense, the goaltenders, just the team in general, how they're gelling in practice as of late.
Well, I'll tell you, Graham, every year I put a team together and we bring in new recruits and then I say to myself, this is a pretty good group of players and and this group here, they've gelled right out of the gate, and they're good friends and they support each other and they're always you hear laughter in the dressing room and they're having a good time and enjoying the experience at the college and they're really bonding. Yeah, it's just a great group of players this year. Great group.
Great to hear. And, you guys got a great leader leading the team, a great
Yes.
leadership group, and a lot of talented players coming in. Just talk about, what the forwards have been looking like in practice, the things that they've been working on, getting ready, getting prepped for the season to kick off.
Yeah, well, we'll start on the back end. We got Geneva Penner and Megan Bestwork, two top U18 goalies, and they're in their first year with ACC. And I was talking with them this morning, bright and early. We had 6:30 practice this morning, and I had a conversation with them about starting. Who's gonna play the first game and the second game, and I told them, you know what, I said I'm so happy with the two of you. You're exactly what we wanted, and you haven't disappointed us. And you know what, they work hard in practice, and you know what, they're like I say, they always have a smile on their face, and it don't matter, all the drills we run, they never complain. And and then moving up to the D, 6 solid D. We've got Jenna, and we got Jensen and Maddie and Callista and Mackenzie, and you know what, we're just loaded back there. They're just great, solid D, just solid D, and we're so happy to have them. And this year we're blessed with 6 back there. We usually only we get 4, but this year we've got 6 top D back there. And I ran power play and PK this morning and ran all 6 through the power play. And you know what, they all did well. And they're all going to contribute on the power play and the PK. And because I have no, like I was talking to my coach this morning, I have no problem, just sending the units out and playing the power play and the penalty kill. I have that much confidence in them already. So and then the forwards, we got 9 up front, and we've had an injury with Emily Thompson. She got hurt in soccer, so she's been out. I don't know, 3-4 weeks here now with a broken foot, and she just came back here with a couple of practices, just light skate, and then next week we're gonna put equipment on her with the red shirt, and then just put a little more weight on that foot, and then just progress with more stopping and quick starts, and see how the foot feels, and hopefully she'll be in the lineup for our. She won't play this weekend, but next weekend with our tournament, she's looking to get into the lineup, and we're hoping that she does, and then we're back to 3 full lines, and like I say, I'm quite happy with all 3, and to roll all them, and like you talked about Simone being the leader, and we got. Cora Fajala, who is just a powerhouse, just a strong skater and strong on the puck, and can shoot the puck. And Aiden Roberts got a rifle for a shot, and work ethic second to none. Alicia Simpson's coming right along, and Savannah, Doak come from Pilot-Mound there Academy, and she took a puck to her wrist there on Tuesday at practice. So she just got checked today with another X-ray, and it's just a deep bruise. So she's okay. So we're not going to lose her. So we're gonna just bandage her up, and she's going to play this weekend. So we'll keep an eye on her. But she's been a real treat to have, and good strong skater, and can shoot the puck. So like I say, up front we got once we get back, we'll get 3 lines, and you know what, we're going to be solid right through from right from the back end to the front end. So.
Yeah, and like you said, you're confident with this group already, and you've had experience with being confident in the groups you put together. Of course, the team in 2018-19 winning the national championship, the team in 2019-2020 going undefeated in the season, including all games that you guys played. And this year, it seems like you guys got a really talented, deep group, and not really much weakness throughout the lineup. When you are able to have that confidence just right off the bat when you guys haven't even played in a game yet, just how huge is that in terms of just a sign for the things to come for what this team is going to be able to do, what they'll be able to deliver out on the ice this season?
Well, we're hoping that, like I say, they bonded. They're a tight group. They're going to work for each other. They're gonna, everybody's gonna do their 45-second job on there, and then change, and get ready for the next shift. And that's all we can ask, of them. And like I say, it's going to take a whole team effort right from the back end to the front end. And you can't win with individualism. So you've got your goal scorers, you got your grinders, and then you've got your D that can jump up in the play, carry the puck. And that's what we want this year. I've told them, I says, I want total team effort right from the front end, back end. I says, we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to carry the puck, dump in deep, use our speed, forecheck, and, and then try and cause some havoc in the offensive zone and start putting pucks in the net. So I'm looking forward to, like I say, this weekend we play the Silvertips, and then we go to Balmoral, and, we're going to have 2, good exhibition games. They're both good clubs, and we played one little scrimmage with some alumni that I put together, 12 players, and that came short notice to come in, and just I had a practice, and I turned it into a little scrimmage, 2 25-minute periods with a break in there. And you know what, it was a lot of fun. It was good to see the alumni, the girls, a lot of girls that we won the championship with, and it was good to see them, and have that little scrimmage with them. And the girls were excited to at least play somebody, and because Graeme, we had to push our schedule back to December 4th down in the States because of the border being closed. So we could have booked our games earlier, but and then you're going to start canceling, and then are they going to be able to get ice for us, to reschedule? So we pushed everything back, knowing that the border was going to be closed for until now. It's going to be open November 8th, and then so it's going to work in just fine, and like I say, our first game down there is December 4th. So
Yeah, and talking about that, the schedule, it's just how many breaks you guys got in between after, next weekend after you guys play 4 games, you guys not on until December 4th again, and then after that, no games until the new year, January 15th.
And then we go to Sault Ste. Marie, on the 13th, and that's going to be a good road trip, down, take the girls down to Sault Ste. Marie, and we're waiting for that schedule to finalize with Sue there, who they're going to bring in from the ACHA to, and we're going to play games down there. We're hoping to get 3 games minimum, 4 at the max, and then head on home. So we're looking for that road trip, and that's going to be fun. That'll be a good long bus ride for us. The girls get to know each other, and in our Cougar bus, and I'm looking forward to that one. that's going to be it'll be a lot of fun. And I get to go through my hometown there in Ontario, so I get to honk the horn through Ignace, Ontario, and as I wheel through there. So yeah, no, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet. Always nice to, visit the hometown in any way possible, even though you're gonna be driving through there. But gotta ask you, Tony, just with how unprecedented the schedule looks, with how many breaks you guys have in between, how as a coaching staff and as a team, coming in, are you gonna handle like those challenges of, playing games one weekend and then being off for a longer period of time than usual?
Well, we talk to the girls all the time, and right at the start of the season, we explained the schedule to them. We sent the schedule to them, and with the border, being closed, and we didn't have a date on when it was going to be open, so we had to load up the back end, with our schedule. So we're quite heavy on the back end. Once we get into the new year, we're going to have to. We got to play 6 different teams in 12 games minimum to qualify for nationals. So,
right.
And then our schedule, you might see breaks there now, but we're probably going to have to schedule games in there. And, because you haven't seen them yet, and we're going to be dovetailing some games in there for us to, make sure that we get all our games in and qualify for nationals, and hopefully we can compete in that in March again in St. Louis. So
yeah, for sure. And I know that, like, from talking to you as many times as I have, nationals is the ultimate goal for you as a coach to get the players there. Talking about one last thing here, the upcoming weekend, you guys play the Winnipeg Silvertips at home on Saturday, and then you're going to be in Winnipeg on the road against Balmoral Hall on Sunday, I believe. Just the plan heading into this weekend, just the first 2 exhibition games of the season, playing teams that have players that aren't alumni from ACC. Just what's going to be the game plan heading into these first 2 games of the season here for ACC?
Well, we've been working on our systems, and we've gone through the forecheck, we've gone through our breakout, we've gone through our power play breakout, we've gone through our power play and penalty kill yesterday, Tuesday and Thursday here, and then we took reading week off, so we had a week off there, and so we're gonna, like I told the girls, we're gonna use our speed, and our and the talent that we have on the back end to carry the puck and get the pucks in deep for our forwards, that we have speed on the front end, and forecheck, and it's just going to be fun to see these girls play, and then try and execute what we've taught them, and that's going to be all I'm looking for in these 2 exhibition games, to see that they're gonna attempt to learn, to use the systems that we've taught them. So, and that's what I'm going to be looking for, and then we'll be able to, and we're going to tape the games, and then we're going to have chalk talk, and then video night, and go over the games, and we're going to have a potluck and do that, and get together and review our games, and then we can start building and seeing where we're going to have to tighten up, and then maybe we'll have to review our breakout again, or our forecheck, depending, and see what's. I'm looking forward to seeing what we how we can play and use the systems that they're starting to learn. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that sounds very intriguing for the players. A potluck, get to watch some tape, and going to be a lot of fun for the players. Can't ask for much more than that, especially so early on in the season. So, yeah, Tony, you take her easy. Thanks for joining me here on this edition of the show, and best of luck to you and the team this weekend, going up against the Winnipeg Silvertips and the Balmoral Hall Blazers. You take care. Best of luck once again.
Thank you very much, Graeme. Take care.
Yeah, we'll talk in the future, I'm sure, Tony.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. You take care.
Okay, bud.
And Tony Bertone, head coach of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars, joining the show here on Thursday night. Always a great time having that guy on the show. He's always, in happy spirits. And how couldn't you be with just the program that ACC has built? Like I said, 2018-19 winning a national championship the year after, even though they didn't get to finish off the season, finish what they started, that team going undefeated, not only the regular season, but every single game that they played, and they didn't lose that season. And will they continue it? Will they continue that undefeated streak heading into this season in those exhibition games in terms of, staying undefeated in total games? We'll have to see, and we'll have to wait and see what ACC is going to do this weekend against the Winnipeg Silvertips and Balmoral Hall Blazers. That was Tony Bertone joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme, the second guest in this episode. We're going to be back here after the commercial break. Going to be joined by Seth Rach in a pre-recorded segment, as always, of Seth's Inside Scoop here after the break. I'll introduce, what's going to be talked about after the commercial break coming up here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick with us as we continue to talk hockey here on the show. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions. Great. Two guests joining us first here on the show here on this Thursday evening. And JD Haughton, former host of the Sask Sports Show, former host here on ASTV Productions, talking about the Kenora Thistles, the team he's covering in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League, the male league here in Manitoba. And just talking about that league in general, talking about the top teams in that league, Brandon Wheat Kings and the Winnipeg Wild, as well as talking about a notable player in Clark Caswell, as well as a team that he thinks could, start to turn the corner as well. And of course, the man himself, Tony Bertone, joined the show most recently here to talk about the Assiniboine Community College Cougars. Always great having that guy on the show. Always a great time. And it's time now for a segment that I'm sure you have all been waiting for since this episode has started. It's Thursday, so that means it's time for another edition of Seth's Inside Scoop. And man, we have a very busy weekend here on the network covering the CSSHL U17 showcase that's going to be played in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba at Blackjack Stewart Arena. 4 teams will be in action. And as well as, we have a game to cover in Morden, Manitoba at the Access Center. I'm pretty sure it's at the Access Center against the Pembina Valley Hawks and the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U18 female prep team on Sunday afternoon. Seth Rach joins his segment here on the show, Seth's Inside Scoop, to preview and break down the teams that will be action this weekend here on the network on ASTV Productions. So without further ado, not to keep you guys waiting any much longer, here's Seth Rach on this week's edition of his segment here on Coffee with Graeme, Seth's Inside Scoop, coming up right now. Enjoy, everyone. And it's another edition of Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme with Seth Rach, ASTV Productions. Color commentator, I guess we call you the third man on our crew here, Seth, here at ASTV Productions. But Seth, here to break down the upcoming weekend of games and the CSSHL U17 Prep Showcase coming up, as well as this exhibition game coming up against the U18 Female Prep Buffaloes and the Pembina Valley Hawks of the MFHL. Seth, gotta ask you, man, how are you doing on this Thursday night? We're doing this 2 hours before the episode goes live, which this episode of Coffee with Graeme started at 8 p.m. But how are you doing? I know you were feeling a bit under the weather yesterday. How are you feeling today?
Not so much better, but, I feel like I can do this today, Again, looking forward to our busy weekend here, though. Like, I got to say, we got a lot of games coming up, and it's going to be very exciting to see some of these teams we haven't seen before.
Yeah, for sure. And, you're toughing it out. You're here with us, or here with me, talking about these upcoming games, breaking down these teams this weekend. We'll start off with Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, one of 4 teams that are going to be in action this weekend in the U17 Prep CSSHL showcase. Of course, the host team, as it will, the showcase will be played in Blackjack Stewart Arena. Looking at Pilot-Mound, they're coming off of a week last week with some success, getting a win, a tie, and 2 losses when they were in Calgary playing at the Edges Arena. But looking at Pilot-Mound, they're definitely going to be looking to build off some of the momentum, some of the good things that they were doing last week in Calgary coming into this week.
Yeah, definitely. They got into that win column, and they're feeling really, really proud of themselves, and they're going to have a lot of confidence going into this weekend. So I think they believe they can do some damage, and I also believe they can do some damage.
Yeah, for Pilot-Mound coming into this weekend, of course, looking at last week, they were able to go out and beat the Edge. Of course, the Edge not in action this weekend due to their players getting sick. But looking at that game, Cian Hodgins ended up getting the start against the Edge, ended up winning it, and Pilot-Mound rolled with him for the rest of that tournament in Calgary last week. Just looking at Cian Hodgins, definitely going to be a huge part of Pilot-Mound's success this weekend if he is in net for them.
Oh, definitely. We've got a chance to watch this guy a few times, and I gotta say, sometimes they've gotten some goals scored on them, but he's definitely been one of the brighter spots when watching this Pilot-Mound team. I've noticed him multiple times. I chose him as my player of the game once, I believe, and he definitely has showed how good he is in net, and he's looking to carry his confidence over from that tournament into this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Cian Hodgins definitely gonna get some opportunity in the pipes once again this weekend. You'd have to think with how he performed in Calgary last week and into the weekend. Just looking at this Pilot-Mound team in the CSSHL regular season this year, 0 wins, 7 losses, 11 goals for, 52 goals against. Not much offense coming from this team yet this season, but definitely this team going to be relying on guys like Laz Constant, Jack Smith, Carlos DeLeon, and Sam Takahashi. What are you expecting out of those 4 this weekend in terms of being able to go out there and produce offensively for Pilot-Mound?
Oh, we know with Laz Constant, he's a run and gun offensive guy. They look to him constantly to put up some points, and he always does. He never shies away from making those nice moves and being able to get some shots on net and score some goals. And DeLeon, he's just impressed me with his overall game. I've seen him out there on the power play, whether it's on the power play or the penalty kill, and he's just a very effective player out there. And I think these 4 players, like you had mentioned, are the guys they're really going to be looking forward. Obviously, they saw some success on that tournament last weekend, and they're going to look to carry it into this weekend's showcase here in Pilot-Mound.
Yeah, and a player that you always like to mention, always like to bring him up, and for good reason, because of his physical presence that he brings out there, is Izzy Amy. He's also put up some offensive numbers this year, although not being on the same level as those four guys we just mentioned. 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points for Izzy this season, but we know what he brings to the table, a big physical presence. How important do you think Izzy Amy's game is going to be this weekend going up against these teams in the U17 Prep Showcase?
Oh, it's going to be really important. Obviously, they have a few games this weekend, so they're going to be looking to guys like that, some of the more defensive, physical guys to kind of wear down the other team and make them tired and make them try to force plays. And you got a guy like Izzy Amy who is constantly throwing the body and being so physical. Some people are definitely going to be looking out for him this weekend because he plays a very physical game.
Talking about the defensive side of things now for Pilot-Mound, 4 players in particular, of course. Bo Bannerman, who we got a chance to see the last time we covered this U17 team in at Blackjack Stewart Arena in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba, but also guys like James Leach, Maddox Darrianka, and Braden Berry going to be big players looking to step up big for Pilot-Mound on the defensive side of things this weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely. And speaking about big, we got Bo Bannerman, like you just mentioned. We saw that the last game we saw him play. He really impressed me. The way he's such a big guy, but he was able to move the puck so smoothly, carry it down the ice. We saw him with that end-to-end goal for his first goal in the season at that point, and that really impressed me. His game is just, it's coming a long way, I think, and I think he's gonna, good things are gonna happen for this guy. He plays perfectly in any zone. You can play him any kind of situation, and he's gonna step it up big time for your team. And Maddox Darrianka, I know you mentioned him a few times as well. He's an excellent defender as well, and you see him top penalty killing every single time. They get a penalty kill. He's the guy that's out there, unless he was just out there beforehand. They're gonna look to that guy to kind of shut things down. And another defenseman, another defenseman. Sorry, where was he? James Leach, right? Sorry about that.
No
Yeah,
worries.
he's constantly I noticed him a bunch of times too. We commented on how well he moves the puck on the power play, how good he is on his edges, and he's a kind of guy you're going to look forward to quarterback. You're going to look forward to quarterback your power play coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and James Leach also brings a bit of a physical presence, a bit of some fire to his game, with him always looking to get physical out there, and also great with the stick as well, as we've seen Seth, along with all the other things that we've mentioned. Great gap control as well, just a great defender for this Pilot-Mound team. But looking at Pilot-Mound from what we've seen this season, of course, looking to build off of some success that they had last week in Calgary. What do you think that Pilot-Mound is going to go out and do this weekend to, potentially grab not only one win, but a couple wins out there against these teams?
Yeah, I think they need to look to what they did right. And what they did right was definitely how they played this weekend at that show or at that tournament there. And I think, because they were in the regular season, they are 0-7. So, nothing like going to a tournament and getting a few wins to raise the confidence levels. And I think they're going to want to, transition the way they played in the tournament. They're going to want to bring that to this showcase coming up here. And I think, with that confidence, they're going to be able to really put on some pressure and really prove to these other teams that they are still one of the more competitive teams in the division.
Who is going to be a player to watch for you this weekend from this Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy team? Of course, we've already mentioned some key players up front, some key players on the back end, as well as goaltender Kean Hodgins. But a player for you that you're looking to really get things going for Pilot-Mound this weekend?
Well, it's a player. I got to choose a player that we've seen create a lot of offense opportunities for them in the past, and that is Sam Takahashi. We've seen this guy every time Pilot-Mound, we've covered a Pilot-Mound game. He's been he's been one of the main guys that has been just all over the offensive zone, generating all the chances. Scoring some big goals, getting some big assists as well, and just moving the puck really well whenever it goes to his tape on his stick. So he's got to be my player to watch this weekend for Pilot.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna be exciting to see what Sam Takahashi can do this weekend. Of course, his stats in the regular season, well, actually, in total this year, is 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points. So definitely gonna be a player to watch for Pilot-Mound coming up this weekend. Let's talk about another team that has been struggling this season. They don't have any wins so far in CSSHL regular season play. That's the International Hockey Academy, a team that comes out of Calgary, Alberta. 21 goals for on the season, 55 goals against. A team with a lot of rookies. Going to be our first time seeing this team along with all the other teams in the showcase this weekend. But looking at International Hockey Academy, from what you've seen from the stat sheet, the stats that these players have put up, from what their roster looked like, what do you think we should expect out of this International Hockey Academy U17 prep squad this weekend?
Well, yeah, like you said, they're one of the younger teams. So one thing to expect with these guys, a lot of speed. They might not be doing too hot in the regular season so far, but one thing with young teams is they always got a lot of speed. You always got to watch out for especially when you're making those stretch passes that one of these fast players on this young team doesn't turn over the puck. So I think they just gotta keep playing the speed game and just try not to focus what's happened earlier this season with some of their losses. Just try to go in with a fresh start into this tournament and just play your best hockey and play as fast as you can to match these other teams.
Let's talk about their offense from what you've seen. What should we be expecting out of this offensive attack that International Hockey Academy is going to be bringing this weekend at the showcase?
Like I said, they got a lot of speed, so you got to watch when they come on the rush. If they have four guys up, you really got to watch. You really got to make sure you cover all these guys because they got a lot of speed. There's a guy on their team, Caden Big Plume, who has 5 goals and 4 assists for 9 points in 8 games. He's going to be one of their run and gun guys. So you got to make sure you got to stop their run and gun guys and play well defensively in order to stop these guys.
Going over to the defensive side of things now for the International Hockey Academy, of course, a lot of goals against so far this year. But if they're looking to turn it around, who are some players on that back end, on that D-core that you're looking to make an impact for them this weekend?
I gotta say, Kalen Bordnarchuk, and he's a guy that doesn't take a lot of penalties. He isn't running away with the scoring title. But one thing he does do is he plays well in his own zone. So you got to expect these defensemen to play really really strong defensively, be really aware, making sure they're blocking shots because they're going up against some very skilled offensive teams. So you just gotta. I'm expecting a lot of defensive, reliable, work done by them in this showcase coming up.
Well, looking at this team's goaltenders, Seth, a lot of goaltenders have been in action, have gotten some game time for the International Hockey Academy. Of course, obviously, with allowing, you know, 55 goals on the season, not the best statistics for these goaltenders so far this year in general. But in terms of what we're going to expect from them or what you expect from these goaltenders this weekend coming up, what can we expect from International Hockey Academy's goaltending coming up this weekend at the showcase?
Well, I think these goaltenders are going to be really hungry. Obviously, the season hasn't gone the way they would have hoped it to be with all those goals against, but what these goaltenders have done really well is they've been able to come back. They're staying in it. They're not giving up on themselves. They just gotta stick with it. And I think this team is going to be very hungry coming into this showcase because there's going to be a lot of eyes on this showcase. So I'm expecting these goaltenders to be really really strong for them tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Going to be interesting to see how these goaltenders, whatever goaltender is in action for them in the games that they play, to see how they battle through and, potentially try to steal a game against these other three teams that they're going to be going up against, or not other three teams, whatever teams they're going to be going up against this weekend at the showcase. We'll go to commercial break after this question here, Seth, but a player that you're looking to for the International Hockey Academy to really drive the play, to really get things going for them this weekend at the showcase?
You know what? It's gonna be a few of these players, but we'll understand why. It's gonna be their whole goaltending as a unit, like we just had talked about. I think I'm really expecting if this team wants to be successful, it's got to be the goaltenders that are going to carry them. They're going up against, like I said, they're going up against a bunch of teams that have run and gun offense, so they're going to need their goaltenders to stand up tall, and I think that's why they're going to be the players to look for.
Well, there you have it. Seth's players to watch. The goaltending group from the International Hockey Academy coming into the U17 Prep Showcase put on by the CSSHL in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba at Blackjack Stewart Arena this weekend. We're going to go to a commercial break here for the first time on this segment of Seth's Inside Scoop. Coming back, we're going to be talking about the Notre Dame Hounds U17 prep team as well as the Prairie Hockey Academy U17 prep team coming up here on Coffee with Graeme here on this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop with Seth Rach. Stick with us after this commercial break. Welcome back to Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme with Seth Rach, breaking down both Pilot-Mound and the International Hockey Academy U17 prep programs in the first part of this edition of Seth's segment here on the show. We're going to now move into one of the other teams now playing this weekend, Seth, and that is the Prairie Hockey Academy in CSSHL play. This season so far, they are the second best team in the league, ranked second. They have 7 wins and only 1 loss coming in a shootout, 41 goals for 19 goals against. So another team that one of the teams in this tournament that has a lot of offensive firepower. 8 different forwards with at least 2 goals on the season. Talk about what we should expect from this Prairie Hockey Academy offense on that side of things coming into this weekend at the showcase in Pilot-Mound.
Yeah, I kind of had hinted at this or in the other part of your segment, how there was run and gun offense, and that's exactly personified in what this team is. They have a lot of offensive weapons they can use, and they don't need, like, there's so much depth here. They don't need to rely on their top line. They don't need to rely on their second line. They got a full group of guys that can put up some points here. So I'm expecting a lot of goals, and I'm expecting a lot of opportunities for this team.
Let's talk about some players in particular here on that offensive side of things for the Prairie Hockey Academy. And Lucas Bourne leads the team in goals with 6. What we should expect from Lucas Bourne, who's shown that he has some sniping abilities and some goal scoring abilities so far this year.
Yeah, you got to make sure if you're going up against this guy, you got to make sure you have someone on him at all times, because if this guy breaks through and has no one on him, he's definitely going to bury the puck if it gets on his stick. So, this guy can score. Like we saw, he has 6 goals in the 8 regular season games he's played. So he's definitely going to be one of the guys to look out for, and he's going to be just a very, very good hockey player for them.
And as well as 2 other guys that have put up a lot of goals this season, Carson Hogan and Devin Olford, both with 5. But talking about a guy that's dished out the puck a lot for assists so far this season, and Carter Scarban leads the team in points with 13 so far this year, but more notably leads the team in assists with 10. With a player with obviously that has shown he has that potential to, dish that puck at a high level, a great playmaker for this team and in the league so far this year. What should we expect out of Carter this weekend in this showcase?
Yeah, this was a guy I was definitely going to mention at some point. He can really pass the puck. This is also another guy you're going to want to have one of your players on constantly, because he knows what to do with the puck, whether it's making a move, whether it's passing the puck. This guy is very deadly. So you got to make sure when he's on the ice, you got to have all eyes on him, because if you're watching the game, you're going to have all eyes on him, because he's going to make some very good passes, and he's going to amaze you with the puck abilities he has and the puck control he has.
Yeah, and not only does this team have a lot of forwards that can produce offense, but defensively as well. Four out of the six defensemen on this team have points so far this year. Ty Pratt and Connor Slugaski, both with a fair amount of points so far this year. Pratt with 8 points, 1 goal, 7 assists, and Slugaski with 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points so far this year. When you have players like this on the back end, Seth, that obviously can defend very well, but produce some offense as well, what do you think teams are going to have to do to, look to key on these two players from this Prairie Hockey Academy back end this weekend?
Well, one thing I think they're definitely going to need to work on is when defending against these guys is make sure your penalty kill is at its best, because obviously most games don't go without a penalty. So if you take a penalty against this Prairie Hockey Academy, you got to make sure you're playing the box well. You got to have your four guys, making sure they can cover up as much ice as they possibly can, because when these two defenders get moving the puck, it can be scary, especially with Scarbon on that unit as well. You got the two defensemen who can move the puck well, and then you got him. It's you got to really, really be on your game that night when you're going up against these guys.
Yeah, and special teams obviously such a huge part of any hockey game. Talking about this team's power play, the Prairie Hockey Academy power play, what you're going to expect from their special teams with the man advantage when they do get it this weekend?
A lot of puck movement. It's best when you're only shooting the puck on the power play. Sometimes you don't get the best opportunities. The goaltender's most likely going to track it. So, move the puck well. Don't move the puck too much to the point where you're just passing it for no reason, but just moving the puck and getting a player open for that one timer. I'm expecting they're going to have a guy, probably born, how he has 6 goals. You're probably going to be looking. He's going to getting a lot of looks on the power play. So you just got to make sure you really, really crack down on your penalty kill, because if you don't, these guys are definitely going to score.
Now, one last thing, or a few last things, I guess, this being one of the few last things that we're going to talk about with this Prairie Hockey Academy team. Their goaltending. 19 goals against only this season. Their goaltenders have seemed to be solid so far this season for this team. But looking at their goaltenders this weekend, from what you've seen, what should we be expecting from the goaltenders that they're going to put out there against these teams this weekend?
Well, as I'm looking at their stats here, they're pretty good too. So, we talked about their offense, how good it was. We talked about how good their defense was. Now you look at the goaltending, you see how good the goaltending as well. It's just a scary thing. And, these goaltenders are going to be going into the showcase, with all the confidence in the world. So, they're going to be just as much, you're going to be looking at them just as much as you're looking at the forwards and the defense in this showcase coming up.
One last thing about Prairie Hockey Academy before we move into the next team here, and then after that we'll go into a commercial break later on in this part of the segment. But talking about a player in particular that you're looking for to be a difference maker out there for Prairie Hockey Academy this weekend coming up at the showcase.
Well, it's a player we had already mentioned, and I got to go Carter Scarbon, their leading point getter. Goals are great, but honestly, it's like sometimes almost assists you like better, because you see how well the teamwork is, and you like to distribute the puck. And this guy has a lot of assists, so I'm expecting him to be on his A game, and I think everybody else should be looking forward to see this guy put up some points.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so disappointing that Prairie Hockey Academy and the next team that we're talking about, the Notre Dame Hounds, won't be in action against each other this weekend at the showcase, because Notre Dame, the next team we're going to be talking about, comes in as the third-ranked team in the U17 prep division so far this year with 6 wins, one of them coming in a shootout, only 1 loss, 45 goals for 26 against. They've won 6 straight games in CSSHL play coming in to this weekend. What we should expect from this Notre Dame Hounds team offensively starting off, because like Prairie Hockey Academy, a lot of offensive firepower for this team so far this season.
Yeah, offensive firepower is definitely right. We saw their U15 team play last weekend and how successful they were, but I'm expecting the same exact thing with this Notre Dame team. You said they're third in they're third in the league right now. They got they're firing on all cylinders. They got the 6 wins in a row, so this is going to be a whole team effort. A lot of it's going to be like Prairie Hockey Academy. These guys are just a full full attack. They got a full attack. You got to just be careful when you're going up against these guys because, like we had mentioned, they got a lot of goal scorers. They got a lot of people that can put up points. So make sure you defend well against this team.
Talking about some players on that offensive side of things that we should be looking for this weekend, Seth. Chad Bates leads this team in points with 11 points, 6 goals, 5 assists. And then Aaron Shanks tied for the team leading goals as well with 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points so far this season. Talking about these two players in particular, what we should expect from them this weekend coming up.
Yeah, we got to expect their high flying offense. These are two guys that can really skate well. They're two guys that can put the puck in the back of the net, and they're two guys that can dish the puck really well. So it's kind of just a massive offensive threat that I'm expecting. These teams are going to be looking to shut down. So these guys are going to be really fast. They're going to be moving the puck well, and they're also going to be shooting the puck well. So they're going to be excellent players to watch this coming up this weekend.
And of course, every great team has a great defense. And when you talk about a defense that Notre Dame has, they can also produce offensively. 5 defensemen listed with at least 2 points so far this season for this team. But at the forefront of it all is Aiden Murray, leads the defenseman on the team in points with 8 points, 3 goals, 5 assists. How excited are you to see what Aiden Murray is going to bring to the table this weekend in the showcase?
Man, offensive defensemen are just so much fun to watch sometimes. The way they, often you see these guys, these defensemen are elite skaters. They got elite edges. They can skate really nicely with the puck, and they make it look easy almost. And often they're quarterback in the power play, which no doubt this guy is. So, whenever you get that offensive defensive threat, it's just so much fun to watch, especially with the dipsy doodling. I'm expecting this guy to, be one of the catalysts in the offense this tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna be excited for myself, from what I'm gonna see as well. I know you're gonna be excited to watch Aiden Murray this weekend for Notre Dame. Like we've talked about, like we talked about, definitely a defenseman that's gonna be looking to go for the dipsy doodles out there for sure, no doubt about it. Talking about this team's goaltending now, Notre Dame's goaltending, that side of things for them. What you're excited to see from their goaltenders, whichever ones they decide to roll with in the games that they're going to be playing this weekend?
They're both goaltenders that are pretty well. They've been on a very successful team, so I'm expecting it's going to be a lot like what we talked about before with Prairie. These two goaltenders are pretty confident going into this tournament. They're on a good team, so expect them to make a lot of big saves. And on a team that is able to defend well and put up some points, these guys are going to be very confident going into the weekend.
Now, we talked about Prairie Hockey Academy's power play. Also, want to talk about Notre Dame's power play. What we should be expecting from them when they do get the man advantage. Of course, we saw Notre Dame's U15 male prep team in action this past weekend, last weekend against the U15 Pilot-Mound team. Looked very sharp, looked very good, was moving the puck around, and were generating a lot of shots on those power plays and resulted in a fair amount of goals as well on the man advantage last weekend for that U15 team. But looking at this U17 team, definitely going to be looking to their power play to generate a lot of their offensive success when they do get it this weekend, you'd have to think, Seth?
Yeah, definitely. We saw last weekend with their U15 team, their power play was excellent. And, they're the same school. So I'm expecting, a lot of similar things from this U17 team. They probably have similar systems that they run. So if we see anything like we saw last weekend, it's going to be pretty tough for these teams to try to kill these penalties off, because this power play, they're going to be able to move the puck, they're going to be able to shoot the puck, and they're definitely going to be able to get some goals. So you really got to watch out for their power play.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be exciting to see what this power play is going to bring when they do get their advantage on the man advantage this weekend coming up at this CSSHL U17 prep showcase. Ending off with this, talking about a player to watch for Notre Dame, a player that you're going to have your eye on this weekend in the showcase.
You know what? I'm going to go with, I think, what is your answer to it? I'm going to go with Aiden Murray. You know, this guy's an elite defenseman in this league. You know, they look to him defensive lines, their power play. You know, this guy is going to be a guy that's going to be moving the puck well, and he's going to be on his A game coming this weekend. So I'm very excited to see this defenseman play.
Well, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to happen in this showcase from Notre Dame's side of things, as well as, the other teams that are going to be in the showcase. We'll give you guys the rundown of what's going to be on tap on ASTV Productions. Starting off tomorrow at 3 p.m., we'll see Notre Dame in action against the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffaloes. Then at 5:30 p.m., we're going to see Prairie Hockey Academy going up against the International Hockey Academy on Saturday. That started with Prairie Hockey Academy going up against Pilot-Mound. 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, we're going to see Notre Dame going up against the International Hockey Academy. To end off the coverage on Saturday, we'll see the International Hockey Academy playing the Prairie Hockey Academy, as that'll be Prairie's second game of the day. And then on Sunday at 10 a.m., International Pilot-Mound to end off the showcase. Going to be a lot of fun, Seth. And hey, we're not done here on Seth's Inside Scoop for this week's edition of the segment. Coming up, we're not going to talk about the showcase, but about the U18 female prep Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy Buffaloes playing an exhibition game on Sunday against the Pembina Valley Hawks in the MFHL. Stay tuned here on Seth's Inside Scoop for Seth's opinion on the breakdown of those two teams coming in to this exhibition game here this week on ASTV Productions. We'll be back after the commercial break for more of Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme. Welcome back to Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the segment up until this point by Seth Rach. Well, Seth Rach segment here on Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme. If you guys are enjoying the segment, feel free to leave a comment, give it a like. Anything helps, right? Growing our content here on ASTV. But, back here to talk about one final game that we're going to be seeing on the network. Will be in Morden, Seth, on Sunday afternoon to watch the Pilot-Mound U18 female prep program take on the Pembina Valley Hawks from the MFHL. Of course, Pembina Valley coming into this game, I'm pretty sure they'll be without key players like Quinn McLaren and leading point getter in the MFHL and Abby Bordedwy. Starting off with them first off, Pembina Valley, before we move into Pilot-Mound. What we should be expecting from this team, what the game plan is going to be without those two players.
So yeah, Abby Bordedwy leading the league, like you said. She has shocked me a few times when we covered those teams with her speed, and then the other one, like Quinn McLaren. They two players. Quinn McLaren, the captain, Abby Bordedwy, the assistant. It's going to be pretty hard to get on the game without your captain and your assistant both in the lineup. It's going to be pretty hard, but I think this team's pretty strong, and they're going to find a way to come in and just play defense. They got to play defensive, and just work hard and know that in spirit those players are there and they're going to be rooting for you.
Abby Bordedwy and Quinn McLaren not going to be in the lineup this weekend, most likely due to them, being with the U18 Team Manitoba team, of course, the final game of that tournament where they're playing in the Western Regional Women's U18 Championships in Portage-la Prairie, that tournament concluding on Saturday. So going to be interesting to see, Seth, if those players end up being in the lineup for Pembina Valley this weekend in that exhibition game. But we'll have to wait and see for Sunday, of course. But, looking at the other players on this team, you talk about players like Annika Braun, the Anderson girls, and Jessica and Caitlin Anderson, Cambry Martins, and some other players as well on the back end, Emily Foster and, of course, other players on that decor. But what should we be expecting from what we've seen so far out of this Pembina Valley Hawks team coming into this weekend in that exhibition game from this offense that they display out there?
Yeah, definitely. They've all shown some tremendous skill. Not as quite high scoring as some of the other league that we cover, but it's still very speedy. It's still very, very fun to watch. And a player like Cambry Martins, she's got speed, she's got skill. Whenever she's out there, players are making sure they got to shut her down. So yeah, she's one of the players that you're gonna have to look for. And also, Annika Braun, she has shown so much speed in her game, especially the last few games we've covered. I feel like there's like at least 10 times a game you're calling her on one of the rushes she's going on. So, she's one of the players you got to look for. And, just this whole team is just so deep. They got a lot of players that can skate fast and get opportunities. So it's going to be tough for Pilot-Mound to try and shut these players down here.
Yeah, Annika Braun, the famous chip and go that she uses, using her speed to her advantage on those plays to track down pucks and create some time and space for herself. We've seen her speed. It's been so evident this season from when we covered them. Going to be exciting to see her in action, as well as the other players on this forward group for Pembina Valley this weekend in that exhibition game. But talking about their defense, of course, without Quinn McLaren, who are you looking on their defense to step up and perform in the absence of Quinn McLaren to step up for them on that decor?
Obviously, I think Emily Foster's got to be one. She's the only leader on their team in the lineup. So, you're going to look to her to really run quarterback the defense and also, get up there on the offensive plays as well. And yeah, she's been great this year so far. And I think she's really going to step up without Quinn McLaren in the lineup. And another part of their defense I look to often, she doesn't put up all the points in the world, but, she's really sturdy defensively. And that's Erica Fiala. I've noticed her a few times, she does the stuff that doesn't get the glory, whether it's blocking a shot, going in the corners and digging through the pucks. So, she's one of their defenders that you got to look for. And, this whole defense is just has a great mentality about themselves. It's like team first, and they're no one goes up offensively and able to not recover defensively. This team is just all focused on their two-way play, this defense, and it's going to be really good to see this Sunday.
Yeah, and a couple more things about Pembina Valley, just their goaltending, what we should expect in this exhibition game from whatever goaltender starts, either Kaylee Franz or Trey Enns in the Sunday game.
Yeah, both these goaltenders have done. I've noticed a few times, the goal will be scored. That famous game that we covered where they scored the first two goals and then 3 unanswered back the other way. I just love the resiliency of these two goaltenders, the way they're able to get back in it and not let goals bother them and take them off their game. They got excellent resiliency, like I said, how they're able just to keep in the play no matter what the score is. They're always going to be expected to make the save, and they always will make big saves no matter what the score is.
Now, talking about a player to watch for Pembina Valley, a player that you're going to be having your eye on coming into Sunday's game, is it going to be a player like Annika Braun, maybe some of the other forwards on the team, maybe like a Ava Del Bozic, or are we going to be looking at the back end or even at their goaltenders? Who's your player to watch in that Sunday game, in that exhibition game against Pilot-Mound coming up for Pembina Valley this weekend?
I'm really expecting Emily Foster here to be the player to look for Pembina Valley. She's been so solid all year for them. Just great defensively, pretty good offensively, able to hop in on the rush and get a few points here and there. And without the other two leaders in this game for them, I think she's going to be one player that they're going to they're a player on their team that they're going to look to generate plays and make that good defensive play. So I think, yeah, like I said, Emily Foster is going to be the player to look for for Pembina Valley this game.
Yeah, and now we're going to be moving into Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy's U18 female prep team, of course, coming into this game, coming off of a win last weekend against the Eastman Selects in an exhibition game, 2-1 in overtime. Of course, starting off with their goaltending, not sure who's going to get the start, but both goaltenders looked pretty solid last weekend, especially River Johnston, who had 47 saves on 48 shots in that win against Eastman. What should we be expecting from Pilot-Mound's goaltenders coming into this exhibition game on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to continue the strong play that we saw, last week. They're gonna be, coming out here, making sure they're in the game early. Sometimes goalies can let goals in early, and I'm expecting, these two to be sharp. Whoever's in net, whichever one's in net, I'm expecting them to be sharp and coming up for this game. I'm going to expect a lot of saves. I'm going to expect mostly what I said about Pembina Valley. I'm going to expect for Pilot-Mound too.
Talking about the forwards for Pilot-Mound, obviously they haven't had a lot of offensive success this season, but definitely going to be looking at players, in my opinion, like a Morgan Satie to get things going for them offensively this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. She was one of the players I was gonna mention if we didn't get to her, but yeah, like you said, they don't have too many offensive weapons yet on this team, and yeah, obviously a player that they're gonna look to generate offense is Morgan Satie. She's had some success this year. She scored 7 goals in the regular season, which is a pretty good feat. So yeah, expect her to generate some offense and even get a few goals.
Looking at the defensive side of things for this Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy female U18 female prep team, I felt like in that game that we covered last Wednesday against St. Mary's, they were doing a better job than we've seen them so far this season, and guarding the house, covering up the red zone, whatever you want to call it, in front of the net, really being more assignment sound. What do you think that's going to be part of the game plan for them? Some more coming into this weekend to continue being assignment sound, have active sticks, and guard that house like they've did, somewhat successfully against St. Mary's.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they did. Like you said, they saw some success with playing a more defensive style game with their defenders. So I'm expecting, the same thing this weekend. We got a very skilled team with some skilled players in the Pembina Valley Hawks lineup. So I'm expecting these Pilot-Mound defenders to really be focused, zeroing in on the play, really be, just guarding the fort in their own zone and being really successful there too.
Yeah, and especially against a team like Pembina Valley, a team that likes to emphasize getting a lot of shots on net, definitely going to be important to, make it tough on them to generate shots from the slot and just generate shots in general. Definitely, I feel like that's probably going to be the game plan for Pilot-Mound coming into this game in general. Wouldn't you agree, Seth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're gonna be looking to shut down this whole game here, and we haven't got to see much from this team yet, so I'm just really looking forward to getting to see these two teams play, and yeah, I'm definitely expecting Pilot-Mound to try and shut down this high goal scoring team in the Pembina Valley Hawks.
One last thing, like we've done for all the other teams here in this segment, talking about a player to watch in this Sunday game for Pilot-Mound coming in to Morden to face off against Pembina Valley. Who's that player to watch for you from the U18 female prep Buffaloes this weekend in that Sunday game?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be a pretty easy choice here. It's going to be the person that's been leading them offensively whole year, and that is Morgan Satie. This team hasn't scored as much as they would have liked to, so a player like Morgan Satie is going to be extremely, extremely important for them in this game, and I think she's going to be really looking to generate offense this on Sunday.
Yeah, Morgan Satie has been, probably their best forward so far this season in terms of generating offense. Just looking at the stats as well, what she's been able to put up. And yeah, should be interesting to see what Morgan's going to be able to do coming up this weekend against the Pembina Valley Hawks in Morden. That game going Sunday afternoon. You guys can catch the action on ASTV Productions, me, Seth, and along with ASTV Productions color commentator Cody Wall will be there to bring you guys the action, along with our producer Glenn Munford. Should be a lot of fun, Seth. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, as we kick off our very busy weekend at Blackjack Stewart Arena, leading up all the way to our final game that we're covering, this game that we just talked about between the Pembina Valley Hawks and the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U18 female prep Buffaloes. Seth, you continue to take it easy. You continue to feel better. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, you take care. Thanks for coming on once again and doing your segment. Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme.
Thanks. It's always great to have. It's always awesome to have for you to have me on.
Yeah, you take care, Seth.
Yeah, you too.
Forgot I muted my mic. Seth Rach joining me on his weekly segment, Seth's Inside Scoop here on ASTV Productions on Coffee with Graeme. Of course, the coverage of the CSSHL U17 male prep showcase starting off tomorrow. Kicking it off, it's going to be just looking at it now. Kicking off action tomorrow is going to be the Notre Dame Hounds and Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U17 male prep Buffaloes at 3 p.m. ASTV Productions, of course, going to be there all weekend to cover all of these games. Pre-game show tomorrow for you guys as well, along with most of the other games this weekend in Pilot-Mound. Should be a lot of fun. Tune into ASTV Productions to watch all of the showcase games as well as that exhibition game between the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U18 female prep program and the Pembina Valley Hawks on Sunday, as that will conclude our coverage for the weekend. I'm going to throw it to one last commercial break here in the show. After the break, we're going to finish off with some final words here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for some final words after this commercial break.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
And welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Of course, Seth Rach, the man on Seth's Inside Scoop, joining the show to break down and preview the upcoming games this weekend here on the network. The CSSHL U17 Male Prep Showcase happening at Blackjack Stewart Arena in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba this weekend. 4 teams going to be in action, as well as talking about that exhibition game coming up on Sunday between the U18 female prep program from Pilot-Mound taking on the Pembina Valley Hawks in Morden. And speaking of some news here, just got word as that segment was rolling with Seth that Team Manitoba at the Western Regional Women's U18 Championships, they won against Team Saskatchewan tonight to finish off their round robin play, as round robin closed out tonight at the Western Regional Championships. That means that Team Manitoba, after the 3-2 win tonight over Team Saskatchewan, finishes third in round robin after losing their first 2 games to Team BC and Team Alberta. With them finishing third, Team Alberta finished first in round robin action and BC finished second. Team Manitoba third and Team Saskatchewan fourth. Team Manitoba will be facing off against Team BC in the semifinals tomorrow at Stride Place in Portage, with a shot to go to the championship game on, I believe it's Saturday, against the winner of Team Alberta versus Team Saskatchewan. That matchup going tomorrow at 3:30 at Stride Place. So going to be a great matchup. Two teams looking to make it to the final, of course. Best of luck to Team Manitoba and all of the players on that team, the coaching staff as well. Go get them. I know that it's supposed to be unbiased, but with this being a Manitoba-based show, mostly hoping that Team Manitoba goes out and gets a win against Team BC tomorrow afternoon at Stride Place, and hoping that they make it to the championship game. But yeah, welcome back to Coffee with Graeme. Some final words on this edition of the show. Just want to thank all the guests that joined tonight's episode, and JD Haughton, former host of the Sask Sports Show here on ASTV Productions, talking about the Kenora Thistles in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League, as well as some top teams in that league and some other stuff. If you guys missed that interview, check it out after this episode is done airing if you want to hear some good insight from JD on the league and just the Kenora Thistles, especially, or as well as a shout out to Tony Bertone for coming on the show, head coach of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team, coming on and talking about how the team's looking and their upcoming schedule. And also, of course, a special thanks to my man, Seth Rach, for coming on the show and doing another edition of Seth's Inside Scoop. A special thanks to you as well, the viewer, for tuning in tonight or whenever you watch this episode. If you're viewing this episode day after or later tonight or whenever you get to watch this episode, thank you to you for tuning in to Coffee with Graeme, as well as a special thanks to our sponsors who sponsored tonight's edition of the show. Coffee with Graeme will be returning next week on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Going to have another great show lined up for you guys. Stay tuned on maybe the weekend. We'll have the guest list out maybe on Monday. I'm not sure when yet. Once we get that finalized, we'll post it on our Instagram, our Facebook, and on our Twitter who the guests will be for that episode. Of course, that episode goes Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You guys can catch it on our Facebook and on our website, our Facebook being ASTV Productions and our website being astvproductions.com. If we do go live for that episode, you guys can also catch it on Amateur Sports TV on Twitter as well. But that's going to do for this edition of Coffee with Graeme, folks. I've been your host, Graeme Forsyth. Gotta let you guys know that I am a Colts fan, so gonna watch the rest of the Colts game. It's in the fourth quarter, so big win it's looking like for the Colts this week. I'm fired up, but that's besides the point. Until next time, folks, we'll see you then on Coffee with Graeme. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night. Have a wonderful weekend as well. Stay safe out there, and until next week on Tuesday, I'll see you then, everybody. Take care. And peace.